Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of You Both Suck. It's your boy Kunal Aurora.
And I'm Dara Pollock.
And we are here. I'm excited.
It's a new year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. We took off the last week because of me mainly, so I will take that blame. I got hit with the flu over Christmas.
There's no blame. I totally get it.
Yeah, I was sidelined for a little, so I was behind on shit. And instead of rushing to get stuff done, I wanted to do it right because we are kind of doing a little bit of a new format, which is exciting. So
I'm hyped.
Yeah, me too.
So Dara and I were discussing this new, what was it, like a subject? New segment? Yes, segment.
Yeah, it's a new segment.
Little segment, and this one is called Hot Takes, Wild Debates.
Little HTWD.
Her and I, HTWD.
Yeah.
So
Viacom.
Yeah, Viacom. You know what? I hope Viacom signs up. Good, get them on board.
I don't know.
So this is the thing. We came up with a couple topics, and you and I have positions on them. And we went, we sat here.
Yeah.
We had a little meeting.
Yes.
Meeting of the minds. Talking things out as to where we would stand. Okay?
Yep.
So we have different subjects, topics, places, peoples, and things.
Yeah, it's more like right, exactly. I was just going to say a noun. It's a person, place, or thing that we are debating or have hot takes on.
Yeah.
And they're pretty, I want to say they're pretty common things, but some might be a little more specific and niche than others. I guess we'll just see how it goes. But,
right. And then we're going to leave it to you, to the listeners, to figure that out.
Yeah, and to decide which side you fall on, whether you side with me or you side with Kunal.
Yeah.
And then when we have a guest for this, they will kind of be the deciding, the tiebreaker.
Yes.
They'll decide if they side with me or side with you.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what we're going to do.
Is that how that makes sense?
That's,
I think?
yeah. And before we get into today's hot takes and wild debates, I do want to say one thing. If you've been listening, please leave a review, rate, review, and subscribe. Share the clips.
Yep.
Do what you can. All those things. I'm telling you right now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I don't really have a big following. I don't really do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Each one of you makes a difference.
Exactly.
All right? Because if one person does it and then let's say someone else checks out the podcast.
Right.
Now that's a whole other person.
Yeah, and also it's just it's that mentality of it's like, hate to compare it to voting, but it's a little bit like, oh, my vote doesn't count. But it's, if everyone has that mentality, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Good. I'm happy you compared it to voting. Step up, people.
Step up. I'm
Vote
just
or
saying.
die. Share or die.
Share or die. I'm sick of begging my friends basically to subscribe, leave a review, give it a thumbs up. It's it's so nice when it comes from people we don't actually know.
Yes. And those people have been fantastic.
Yes.
And we're asking everybody, just make that concerted effort. That would really help us a fair amount. It means a lot to us.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. Shall we?
Yeah, I think we can get into this. So today's hot takes and wild debates is bacon, egg, and cheese versus sausage, egg, and cheese.
Yes.
I am taking bacon, egg, and cheese.
Taking sausage, egg, and cheese?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to lead off?
I mean, yeah, I can. I guess.
I mean, if you don't feel like it, I'll take lead.
Take lead.
Okay.
I don't know why.
All right.
I'm ready.
I'm going to tell you right now. At first, I wasn't scared of you. And then you picked up the notepad. For those who are listening, Dara just picked up a notepad with a pen, and I got a chill in my body.
I have to refer to my notes to make sure I don't miss anything.
100%. I understand that.
Yes.
Okay. Let me say right now. Bacon, egg, and cheese, they suck. I'm done. I know they're a New York staple, but this is the thing. The time has come where you gotta just let it go, because bacon, egg, and cheese, it's such a variety as to what you can get when it comes to how they do the bacon. Egg and cheese can stay consistent, but every place somehow can make bacon either way too crispy, way too soft. It's honestly like the fuckboy of breakfast sandwiches for New York. I think that it's so unreliable that after a while you reach a point in your life where you're like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want some commitment. I want something that is stable. Henceforth, welcome to sausage, egg, and cheese. Circular. Fits the course of the sandwich. Circle sandwich, circle patty. Right? consistent right there. You got something that is going to fill up in every bite. They cook sausages generally the same the entire time. All right. So it sits well there. There's a softness to it that is so delectable. That taste of sausage can be, I mean, it's a game changer. Some places do something, there's always something delectable in terms of the contrast. Whereas bacon is just either this crunchy, mushy meat mess. It honestly is just, it doesn't have the complexity of what a sausage, egg, and cheese is. And if you're done, you should, after a while, you should grow up and stop having bacon, egg, and cheeses and come on over to sausage.
Okay. That was a pretty solid argument.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And there are points there that I do agree with. I actually wrote down the circle sandwich, circle patty thing. I tip my hat to you on that because I do think that that's a good point.
Okay.
However, my counter argument for that specific point is that if the sausage is not properly cheesed into the sandwich, to the egg and the cheese, you take a bite and it slides right out the back. And I have no fucking time for that. That is my biggest gripe with sausage, egg, and cheese. And also, my thing with the sausage being inferior is that I disagree on the fact that it always tastes good, because I don't think that that's true. I think you run into similar issues with a sausage, egg, and cheese that you do run into with a bacon. I think bacon, yes, you're right. It can be too soft. It can be too crispy. But I would also rather take like too crispy over a bland sausage patty. And I've had many a bland sausage patty in New York. I feel like it's not exactly the home of amazing sausage. Like, it's just not. I find that the bacon is a little bit more, in my mind, I find it to be more consistent. And then just, it's a classic. It's a staple. And I don't feel like a heavy sloth-like person after I eat one. Like, I can kind of go about my day if I have a bacon, egg, and cheese, you know?
Okay.
So there's that. And then on top of it being just like a more fattening food, I mean, it's just a fact. It's got more fat, calories, whatever. But leaving that aside, I personally prefer a bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll. But you can eat a bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll or a bagel, and you don't have to unhinge your jaw to eat it. When you get a sausage, egg, and cheese on a bagel, it's like impossible to eat. And again, because of the density of the bread, if that thing is slippery, it's shooting right out the back.
Okay.
And that's my final argument.
I can understand the idea of that sausage sliding out. It feels like a loose hockey puck.
Yeah,
I get it. It's gross when it flies out. And you know what sucks? When it flies out and if it doesn't hit the paper,
Yes.
you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Your entire sandwich. You know, anybody eating an egg and cheese,
Yeah.
just an egg and cheese meal, I feel
Crazy.
sorry for you.
Crazy.
Yeah. There are people out there, because they're vegetarians or pescatarians, eating an egg and cheese sandwich, and I go, that's not a way to live.
Like, literally, you could add so many other things to it that aren't meat that would make it taste better. Even avocado. Which I do have a little bit of an issue with because it's very squishy.
It's very squishy.
It's a texture issue.
And it can also slide out, too,
100%.
depending on the consistency of the avocado.
Right.
But if we're going to get back to it, I think
Yeah.
that, listen, bacon, egg, and cheese, it's just, man, I can't do any more of the unpredictability. All right? I just don't, I don't need that anymore.
Okay.
All
So,
right?
listen.
I'd rather a sausage slimily slide out of my sandwich and pick it up and knowing that I can put it back in there.
Yeah.
Whereas bacon, every bite, I feel like I'm about to lose a tooth.
Well, see, that's the thing is, like, you must have had some pretty bad experiences with bacon. And for that, I apologize.
Right.
On behalf of the bacon eating community, the bacon enthusiast community, I have not had such experiences. Occasionally, I'll get a bacon, egg, and cheese that's like with the soft bacon, which I really hate.
Right.
I like a crispy bacon.
Soft bacon tastes like you're eating a plastic bag.
It's literally, it's so like stringy and grizzly, and I hate it so much. So that I will agree with, but I still would take that, I think, over like biting into a sausage and then you get that like ball.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? That also tastes like plastic.
Yes,
and then
it's just that weird piece of congealed fat that just flies out. I know.
And you got to do one of these.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like when you've got like animal fur in your mouth. Yeah, it's a disgusting.
It's also how I spit out gum, but anyway.
Right.
Because I'm a lady.
So basically you're saying you're willing to take the gamble.
Yeah, I'm willing to take the gamble because like I said, also it's just, it feels less of a risk for the rest of my day. Like sausage, egg, and cheese I will go for when I'm like severely hungover or something, or when I really just need that, but it's so heavy. I don't feel good about it.
For you to be like, I eat a bacon, egg, and cheese and go about my day is bonkers. That's an insane person thing to say. It's like, what are you, a roofer? It's an absurd, like, I'm like, like, what kind of day are you having where you're like, I have a bacon, egg, and cheese and go about my day?
I can. I do it almost every weekend.
I'm blown away by it. Like,
I mean,
you're like a power lifter. Like, it's just absurd to be like, oh, I have a bacon, egg, and cheese or a sausage, egg, and cheese.
Yeah.
That's my day.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Listen, my stomach is like a stomach of steel at this point.
No, I get it. Yeah, it's just wild to be like, I go about as if you're going shopping. You know?
I mean, honestly, I can. I don't eat bacon as much as I used to, but I will usually every weekend make myself some form of a breakfast sandwich. But it's not like a bacon, egg, and cheese or a sausage, egg, and cheese. Right. Sometimes, though, I'll throw some Canadian bacon on there and get a little crazy. But I'll have a turkey, egg, and cheese and go about my day. It's not that different.
Yeah, okay. I can get behind that. Yeah, I will say this, though. I haven't done this, and but we'll have to say this.
Yeah.
To wrap that up, I want to hear what the people think.
I agree. I would love to hear. I think you're going to get a lot of people on your side because I think sausage, egg, and cheese just never really got what it deserves. Because I do think it's great. I love a sausage, egg, and cheese.
Listen, I think a lot of people are going to agree with you because they'd rather take that crunch. They want that crunch.
I mean, I do love that crunch.
That crunch is good. And I do think that the sausage, egg, and cheese not having the crunch, you're kind of reliant on the roll or the bagel itself in order to have it. And on a bagel is very difficult to pull a sausage thing because that thing, the probability, it'll slide forward.
Yeah.
I've had sausage hit me in the face.
It attacks you.
Yeah.
No, it's tough. It's hard. So, all right. Well, I'm curious to hear what people think on that one.
Right. I do want to say this, though. There's a sandwich I used to have when I was younger. And then it was cinnamon raisin.
Oh, no.
Turkey.
No. Oh.
Cream cheese.
It's getting worse.
And egg with hot sauce.
Say this again.
Yeah, cinnamon raisin bagel. Turkey, egg, and cream cheese.
Oh.
I know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, because when I initially started reacting, I thought you were going to say cinnamon raisin bagel with sausage, egg, and cheese, because a lot of people say that tastes like a McGriddle.
Yeah, I've had that too.
And I can sort of deal with this.
I've had that as well.
I don't think it does. So I'm like, I get the idea behind it, but to me it doesn't taste like a McGriddle.
McGriddle also is a phenomenal sandwich too. So
I fucking agree.
It's so good.
It's really good. Yeah. So I get the idea behind that, but cinnamon with turkey.
Cinnamon turkey. Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
I know. It's disgusting. You said turkey on an egg and cheese, and I said, okay, cool. I just figured I'd share. I didn't know I was gonna get looked at like I'd sit here and I told you I'd molested a child. You looking at me like I committed murder.
I mean, it's rough. It's rough to hear.
All right. Well.
The weirdest sandwich I think I used to eat when I was a kid, I used to eat liverwurst, just like liverwurst and mustard.
You're a disgusting human being.
It's like the Great Depression.
Yeah, that's absurd. That is
My yaya used to buy it.
This is a Steinbeck sandwich, is what you're telling me. This is grapes of wrath at worst. Yeah. This is horrible. All right, well, we're both disgusting people.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
So you hit me up. So Dara hits me up and she goes, "Hey, have you watched this movie Saltburn? I got a couple things." So I'm doing shows, and I see the email, and I go, you know what? I've heard a couple people chatting, and and I'm not like, I haven't been like, so I know a lot more people are talking about it. Yeah. So then I was like, you know what? I woke up this morning and I said, let's watch this movie. Yeah. Let's go. You got some thoughts.
I have so many feelings about it. Well, first of all, I will say just right off the top, I don't really understand why it's so hyped and why everyone was talking about it so much.
Right.
I just look, I think my overarching theme is I think it was good for what it was.
Sure.
But I take a lot of issue with the messaging, and I think
good for what it was. What is it?
Oh, meaning the movie. So first of all, let's also caveat this because this will be coming out in a week or so.
Sure.
If you have not watched the movie and you want to, skip ahead a few minutes because this is going to be riddled with spoilers.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just getting that right out of the way, giving people enough time to make moves. This is where you fast forward. We're good. Okay.
You've done the due diligence.
I've done my due diligence. If you haven't seen it, then you complain to us. It's your problem. I think it was good for what it was, meaning a satirical, dark comedy, thriller. It had a lot of elements that you would think I would like. I will also mention that I went into this pretty blind. My friend who loves movies, and I go to a lot of shows with her, theater stuff, all the stuff you hate, musicals.
Right.
She was the one who texted me out of the blue a couple weekends ago and said, have you seen Saltburn? And I was like, no, whatever. And she goes, well, it's something, all right. Everybody's talking about it. But she didn't give me shit. I didn't know what I was was getting into. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it.
So I went in the same way you did. Okay.
I didn't tell you anything about it.
No.
I was just like, go in blind and see what you think. And it's like, again, I appreciate I thought it was shot beautifully.
Yes.
I thought the acting was great.
Fantastic.
I thought as a whole, the movie itself, I mean, it definitely kept my attention. I was intrigued, but I was also disgusted at multiple points.
Okay.
And I also hate the ending. I really, really hated the ending.
Sure.
I wanted justice for that little twat.
Yes.
I can tell you, can I tell you a better ending?
Well, okay, hit me with a better ending.
My better ending for this movie is after he's done with his naked cock flopping around coke dance that he does to celebrate the victory of killing the entire family.
Right.
Fucking Duncan, the butler, pops up out of nowhere and pop, just right in his fucking head. That is a better ending.
That's written by such a Queen's goon. You're such a mook. It's an
Come on.
That's such an insane way to end the movie.
That's such
Duncan,
a better
the
way.
Quiet, unassuming bachelor.
Yes, that's why.
The butler comes in with a gun.
That's why.
In England.
That's why.
With a gun. Okay, which is also way out of proportion because they're not big on guns. They're into knives.
Okay. Sure.
All right. I'm just saying.
Fine.
Okay. All right. Let's not stop there. All right. Because then he comes in and starts firing at this guy.
Not firing, just one or two, man.
Just a couple,
He was an open
shots.
target.
Right. Yeah.
And he's naked.
Dick hanging out in the wind.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And well, the reason I'm saying that is because other people that I told this to, they were like, oh, what about the guy, oh my God, F. What's the
Farley,
thank
you.
They were like, oh, him too. That could have been a good ending. And I was like,
Sure.
yes to that, maybe. But my reason for Duncan is because there was this inner hatred towards Ollie, the main character.
Oliver,
Oliver, whatever. There was an inner hatred. You could just see it all throughout the movie. That's why I think it would have been a better ending if he killed him at the end. Because you would really, like you said, unassuming.
Yes.
You wouldn't see it coming.
Absolutely
With
not.
Farley, you absolutely would see it coming.
100%.
So anyway, but that was my here's a better ending.
Yeah.
Which I still think is better ending. Yeah.
I love how your better ending is bring out a gun.
I mean,
start fire.
I'm sorry, but you don't think that guy should have died? He killed this entire family. It's
I understand
glorifying serial killers and sociopaths.
Right. The thing is, I think the fascination with this movie is because it's rich, hot people being rich and hot. That's the world.
It's definitely an eat the rich movie.
Yes,
definitely.
It is. But the eat the rich part is in addition to rich people being rich and them being hot.
Yeah,
and when I see a movie like this, what really starts to, I'm not going to criticize the writing, really. I'm not going to criticize the acting or anything like that. For me, the thing that really kind of sits there and that's annoying is I look who wrote the movie and I see the person who wrote the movie is just this daughter of this millionaire.
Yeah.
And then I go, oh, cool. All right, great. So you look down on those from the middle class. Then what do you want? Do you want the separation between rich and poor to be so vast they can't even come to you? Or maybe this movie is a reflection of an event that happened in your life where you maybe gave some guy who was from a lower class. You gave him a chance to do something, and then all of a sudden he upset you, he broke your heart, you broke up, and now you're writing this movie about some. Apparently, everybody in the middle class are just sociopaths.
Well, that's an interesting take on it because I didn't think of it that way because he's not. Now, granted, Oliver, his character is not wealthy like the what's her name? Catton?
Yeah.
He's not wealthy like the Cattons, right?
Sure, but he's like middle class.
He's like upper middle. He comes from a pretty affluent, it seems, because that's what you find out is that he's making up this lie about his family.
I mean,
I understand your
the difference between upper middle class and like this. That's generational
huge,
wealth. That's
huge.
You know what I mean. It's a massive difference.
Massive difference.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that's a good point. I didn't actually think about that end of it. I picked it apart in the sense of I just don't love when Hollywood as a whole glorifies this type of behavior.
Yeah,
and
of course.
that's why I wanted justice. He should have died. There was no, I did not feel empathy for this person.
No, should
at
you?
all. Right.
Yeah.
And there was that. And then on top of it, I just feel how desensitized are we that this is what we have to do is jizz gobbling tub is what we have to look at,
drinking cum water.
Listen, and the grave. Okay, so the other thing that upset me.
Yes, there's a lot of really
gross scenes.
Yeah. I mean, at one point, Barry Cogan, who plays Oliver, I think is I want to say Oliver Twist.
I
but
know,
that's
I keep
not
thinking
it.
that, but that's not it. It doesn't matter.
So he what he does, he's drinking some guy's bathwater.
So the guy Felix,
Yes.
who's his like object of infatuation and lust and probably love and hatred and all these things,
Right.
is jerking off in a tub, and
Yeah.
he's watching him do this. And I called it so long before it happened.
Yeah.
Both of these scenes where he fucks the grave too. I was like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. Don't do it. And I'm
He's
yelling.
gonna drink the cum water.
I knew that was gonna
You
happen.
knew that was gonna happen.
I knew all of the disturbing scenes before it happened. I was
I
like,
don't
what
even-
does that say about me?
I'm gonna tell you right now. That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I mean.
I'm like when that
Yeah.
happens, I goes, oh, that was different. But for you to
I
go,
saw it coming.
this is normal.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
this
knew-
is. He's gonna. I just can't imagining you sitting there watching the TV going.
yeah.
He's gonna drink the cum water.
I literally-
This is such a wild.
First
thing.
of all, why do I sound like Polly Walnuts?
I don't
to
know.
you?
It's just funny to be like, he's gonna fuck the grave.
I literally was sitting there when he
He's
started.
gonna go down on her when she has a period.
Yeah. Now I sound like an old smoking lady
Yeah.
sitting out on the stoop in Queens, but okay. Well, that's what I mean. I was watching it and I was like, why did I call that? I'm
Right.
upset that I called that. And then one of my other friends said that she did too, and I look at her as relatively normal. So I
Right.
was like, okay, maybe it's not that crazy.
I think women are into some more freak shit than they're willing to admit to. You know?
No, but I wasn't enjoying it. I thought it was
okay.
gross. I didn't
All right.
like those scenes.
Well, then I guess I gave away what I like.
Yeah, I was
All right,
gonna
well, whatever.
say, what is this telling us about you?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I just think it's fine. You know
No,
what I
see,
mean?
but I thought-
bathwater's bathwater.
You didn't think that was also, though, back to my original point
Yeah.
of like desensitization. Don't you think that that's a little bit what that was, maybe? Like pushing the envelope in that?
Yes.
Because I'm like, this is what we have to do to get people talking about shit is cock flopping dancing and
Yeah.
jizz water.
I mean, well, think about this, right? When I think remember that movie when Tom Cruise is dancing? It's like the 80s.
Risky Business?
Risky Business.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
in his underwear and a dress shirt, right? And that back then was considered so risque.
Business.
Yeah, exactly. Nicely done.
Thank
All
you.
right, tip my hat.
Was it actually?
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
it was like this guy's dancing. And like it
Yeah,
was
I
a
mean-
lot like the conservativeness of the country we
Well,
live
but
in.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, so
This
you
is
have
where
to,
we are.
Yeah, this is what it is. You
That's
have to push
crazy.
the envelope and go, all right, well, we're going to have this guy dick flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
You rarely see penises
No,
in
that I
movies.
know. That I know. And
Yeah, and
I
Barry
understand.
Kogan, uncut.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And also supposedly not a prosthetic. That's the other reason.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Supposedly it's real. But
I mean, my man is flat. Like they make
Yeah.
a mark of it in the movie where he goes, "Oh, not bad." And it's just like, and then
Yeah.
you just wonder, is this how this guy got the role?
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, that's
by
the
bringing
thing.
in that hero,
That
Okay.
I didn't think was like as shocking to me as those other like the gross scenes.
Yeah.
That's what I took issue with, and then like I said, ultimately the
the oral
ending.
sex during the period.
Ugh.
Okay, no, yeah, right. Okay,
There was those 3 scenes
Yeah.
that I was like, again, why did I see this coming? 2, why did they do it? And 3, why am I still watching?
is it not the remark of like how people with money, like that's to them, this is like they're so bored.
But he wasn't
You
the
know?
one that's the like super. This was Ollie doing everything.
no,
so
of
he
course.
wasn't the super loaded one who just was so bored.
No,
with
I'm
life.
saying like the writer of the movie, like this is
Oh.
showing like this is like when you have this many means, you go through all these things. I
Maybe.
think that you're bored. It's like that book by Bret Easton Ellis, Less Than Zero,
Mm-hmm.
where one guy's questioning why another guy is sleeping with a girl who's like way underage,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, because there's nothing else left to do.
Yeah, it's just boredom.
Yeah.
I mean, like I could see that. That's fair. And like I said, like you said, the culture has just gotten to a point where I think we are desensitized,
Yeah,
and I
no,
think
yeah.
it does take a
People
lot.
eating ass out there, Dara. People parting butt cheeks.
That's not really new.
Yeah, but in the 90s,
I mean,
could you imagine in the 90s? You know what? Let's put it this way. Let me give you a little
I
perspective.
feel like that's when it started, or the 80s. But
What,
okay.
you think people were eating ass in the 80s?
The,
I think, let's put it this way. In The Sopranos, when they made, what's his name? The uncle.
I never fully watched The Sopranos.
That's totally understandable.
Never
That's fine.
watched it.
But
Yeah.
his uncle, what's the thing called? The main character's uncle.
Okay, whatever.
Who's one of the mob bosses, right? And it's terrible that I'm messing up all these names. But the point is, like, he's hooking up with this woman, and they allude to him going down on her, and he's like, I would never do that. That's really gay.
Oh. Okay,
Where
okay.
In
You are kinda right.
2002,
You're right.
going down on a woman was considered gay.
Oh, well, That I don't know about.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm
that's
saying
weird,
like, yeah, but like in
I thought you
some,
meant the ass.
No. I'm saying in some cultures that even like in The Sopranos, 2002, he's like, me go down on her. That's gay. I would never do that.
Really?
Yes. And that's not
wild.
That's only like 20 years ago.
Well, okay, so yeah, I was going to use the example of, because again, I've never fully seen The Sopranos, which I know everyone thinks is crazy.
Right.
I've seen some episodes, but whatever. So I was thinking of Sex and the City when Miranda is dating a guy who goes to eat her ass, basically.
Yeah,
and it's a whole episode based on this premise. So I guess you're right. It wasn't as like prevalent or whatever. And these are the things. But I'm saying is like, this is what we have to do. So now we got to be eating people out on their periods.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's like, listen, you went down on a woman. It was like, all right, cool. That was risque. Then you're eating butt. And you're like, well, now the butt's done. What is the front producing again? Oh, it's that time.
And I don't know if you've seen this, because I don't think I sent any of these to you. But now we got people on Instagram and TikTok making Jacob Elordi cum cocktails.
I'm so, wait, what are those?
So Jacob Elordi is the guy who plays Felix.
Okay.
So they're making the Jacob Elordi bathtub cocktail. You haven't seen this?
No.
There are influencers out here making drinks that look like jizz in a cup.
Oh, but there's no actual jizz in them?
I hope not.
I don't know. I don't know what the kids are up to these days. You know what I mean?
I'm upset.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you know.
Honestly, I never actually watched a full-length one because I refused to give it a click. But a few of my friends sent it to me because I spoke to them about the movie and how upset I was by various scenes. And
man, those scenes didn't bother me at all.
Oh, they bothered me. Again,
I
think it's also because I saw them coming, so it's really just like, do I
You
want
think
to
that
tug
made
at that
that made it worse?
Yeah, it made it worse for me. Why did I see that coming?
I mean, I was shocked. I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
I was not shocked. The fact that I was sitting there going, don't do it. Don't do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. Like, I knew.
Having sex with the grave was too much?
I mean, a little, yeah.
I guess.
I do wonder how porous that dirt was.
I mean, with the rain, probably real nice.
tight.
Yeah, it was like muddy. You know?
Ew.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, you see my point. Anyway,
yeah, I get it.
But I didn't actually read any of these recipes, but it would be hilarious. It was like a 1/4 teaspoon jizz.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely gonna have like coconut juice or coconut water.
100%. I actually, or condensed milk.
Condensed milk.
Condensed milk
Yes,
is a good,
yes. Canned cum, as they call in some circles. So.
Anyway, well, so like I said, I think, is it worth a watch? Sure, but I am happy never seeing this movie ever again.
Right.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of things that happen these days. Like they have their moment, and then but we're fascinated with the rich.
Sure.
We want to see what the wealthy are doing. We want that peek into their lives.
Yeah.
Even if it that's why all the shows like The Real Housewives are so popular. People want to see that.
Okay, but again,
look into that.
Sure, and I agree with that to a degree. I just think that Real Housewives a little different than like, hey, here's a sociopath who kills off this entire family and gets rewarded for it at the end.
I mean, this is right. I know that's crazy too, but this is where we're at. I think in a lot of ways, and it's sad because it's just like, you know, the person writing it's like, all right, well, you're now portraying people in lower classes as some sociopathic lunatic. Okay, fine.
Right.
But then another remark is that like, is this the only way for people to rise up into a different class structure themselves? Maybe that's another thing.
Maybe that's.
But when your dad is like a millionaire and this just gives you the opportunity to write whatever the hell you feel like doing, then in itself it requires like pause and be like, what are we even? You know,
right. Yeah.
What's the purpose of any of this stuff? Like, you know, do people in different classes even have an opportunity to reach that level of wealth? And the answer is generally no.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So you look at that and you go like, man, if I got to poison an entire family to rise up, I will. I will definitely do that. If I even end up somehow in a neighborhood that remotely looks like Saltburn, I'll burn the house with the family in it. I do not care. I'm not trying to die out here in Brooklyn and Queens. Okay.
All right. Well, that's one way to sum it up, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Good.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. The one thing this person left out was their like gender and age, but it's like mentioned, and I'm assuming it's a woman just based on the okay. It says, absolutely hate friendship drama. I have a friend who I've known for 2 years. While I do like her, our worlds are very different. She has no job, her parents pay her rent, although she's nearly 50, and she expects all men to pay when she goes out on dates, even when she has no interest in seeing them again. Lately, I've been feeling super drained with her because every time we met, all she did was complain about men, money, New York, other friends, etc. I have my own shit to handle and felt very de-energized every time I saw her, so I decided to just retract. I was polite responding when she contacted me, but made zero effort to see her in the hopes she'd understand and leave me alone. After all, this is a recent friendship and we're both adults. I felt I owed her nothing. She recently contacted me to ask what was wrong as she felt like she was bothering me and I've been acting cold. While she had a point, because that's exactly how I felt, she called me at 2 p.m. in the middle of a workday to discuss this, which pissed me off. This is someone I hung out with less than 10 times in 2 years. It's zero a friendship that I had space for this. In my opinion, that sentence was a little weird, but we get it. Okay. I'm going through an immense process of anxiety on work stuff and simply have nothing to give her. She never asks how I am, and I feel she just wants someone to dump her complaints on. I absolutely hate being cornered, which is what I felt happened. I responded that I felt the friendship was very one-sided, and I got tired of being her unpaid therapist. She got extremely upset, and now, in retrospect, I understand she may have seen me as closer to her than I actually felt I was. I still think she's draining and took the incorrect approach. Do I suck for having an ice heart and shutting her off? Does she suck for being self-absorbed? Or do we both suck for being pathetic losers with girlfriend problems close to the age of 50?
I want to say something right now.
Yes.
There is an art to getting rid of friends.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And the problem with people is that they don't bother to think about it. You know, because it's a difficult thing.
Okay.
It's not easy to distance yourself out of someone's life.
Yes, I agree.
Okay? And the problem is emotions get involved.
Yes.
And that's the first thing you need to put in check. Because when you're getting rid of somebody out of your life, you want someone out of your life because their emotional thing is too much for you to tolerate. Right. That's when you have to cool yours down and you got to step back. Yeah. And you got to do this in a calculating way. I have gotten rid of many friends in my life. Many people in my life. Yeah. And I don't regret it.
Right.
I love it because it was necessary.
Yeah.
There is nothing more freeing than letting go of a toxic person and doing it in a way in which they don't even know.
Well, see, that's what I was just going to say, though. So you've cut out people without having to have a conversation about it.
Yes.
And that's okay. I sometimes can support that, again, depending on the context of the friendship, which I think in this case may have been the way to go, but I typically would not say like just ghost people.
I'm not saying you ghost.
Okay.
I'm not saying you ghost.
So then what would you do?
The disconnect has to be slow instead. It's sort of like if something gets thrown off a bridge and it's connected to a series of strings and each one is disconnecting as it's getting closer to the ground.
Yes.
And then it lands softly on the ground. So it's not injured or hurt in any which way. However, but you've done it in such a calculating way that they now realize, the friendship has fizzled out.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
there's an art to this, and a lot of people are not good at it.
I agree with this.
Yes.
However, how many of these friends were women?
2.
Okay. Majority, though, I'm going to assume we're guys.
I'm even keel right now.
Okay.
I'm on 2 and 2.
I think my point was that majority of the time, a woman is going to call you out on that.
Women are good at that. Yeah. Women are good at that. They got a good nose for this type of stuff.
We can sense that energy.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. I understand that. So you got to be even more careful. Okay? You can't let these trifling hoes get at you. Okay?
Okay, wait, hang on.
Yeah.
I will also ask, or not ask, but tell me then what your process would be, because this woman, to me, it did sound like she was trying to do that.
She was, but she wasn't doing it well.
I mean, we don't know that.
Well, I mean, but this is the thing. You're talking about being stressed at work.
Yeah.
You're talking about you got a lot on your plate.
Right.
You talk about I've been gone. I went a little radio silent. The errors are there. The mistakes are there. Even she's admitted, like, I could have done this a little better. Because
Okay. Well, then what would you have done?
What I would have done? Yeah. This is the thing.
Okay.
You tell her your distant relative in Malta is dead. And you've got a lot. You've got a lot to take care of. No. This is the. All right, I'm just being. All right, like for example, this is the thing. The communication has to take a cease.
Okay.
You have to pull back on communication.
But like telling them, or just completely, because that lends itself to ghosting.
It does lend itself to ghosting, but you're not ghosting.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like you're not reaching out.
But that's what she said she was doing.
Right. But then also you got to be like, when they reach out to you, you got to be like, oh, hey, I'm a little busy.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh, hey, I got to go. I got to take care of something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you keep giving them excuses
I understand.
for them to be like, oh, I guess they just don't have time for me in their life.
Yeah.
And I think that when you keep doing that to a fair amount, and listen, don't get me wrong, women are infinitely good at sussing this stuff out.
Yes.
All right? You women are devious like this, okay? It's almost, I don't understand why there's so many male private investigators. This is
So
a woman's
true.
job.
So true.
Stop it, okay?
Literally.
We don't need more men eating donuts and watching women from their cars. That's called most men. Quit it. Most women should be private investigators. They know how to suss out men and their nonsense.
Yes.
Or women and their nonsense.
Yes, we are. It's a very
Yes.
good point.
It's a skill set.
Yeah.
But I think that in this situation, it's like a slight, you know what I mean? It's like you're giving more and more space, but still keeping communicative.
Yeah.
And by doing that, the person starts to understand that, oh, this person's just going through a lot of stuff and maybe we'll hang out, maybe we won't. And then eventually, let's say the person does approach you
Yeah.
and like, hey man, what's going on?
Right.
You at this point, this is where you can't unload. You can't dump.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's definitely where she made her mistake.
Yes.
I think the biggest mistake she made, because to me, honestly, from what she wrote in the email and what you're telling me, and I would approach it the same way if I was trying to kind of phase somebody out.
Yeah.
It sounded like she was doing the right thing by
then she
doing
made a
that.
couple errors.
But she made a few errors, and
Yeah.
but that's the thing that sucks about that is like it's one or two of those little slips and the whole thing unravels. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying it's easy.
It's not easy.
I'm not saying it's easy. it's
not easy.
difficult.
Yeah.
It is a difficult thing. I'm just
Right.
saying that I've done it before.
I understand.
And I know how to do it well.
Right. Well,
Okay?
and we appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I do think that there's an art to it. You're
Yes.
right. So I think that while that is a good tactic and it is a good strategy, because
Yeah.
sometimes there are friends in your life that, yeah, they don't deserve a conversation.
Right.
Or you don't owe them one. Maybe not
Sure.
deserve is a weird way to put it, but you don't necessarily owe them one. Because
Yeah.
hanging out less or 10 times or less than 10 times in 2 years is really not somebody that is that
It's
close to you.
not that much, yeah.
However, it does make a difference how often this person was talking to you. Like if you guys were having a lot of phone conversations, a lot of texting where you were letting her unload a lot of her emotional baggage onto you, I
Yeah.
could see why she trusted you as a friend. I could see it.
People love to hold on to their friend therapists.
100%.
Yeah, this is not something you let go. You hold on to this person because a couple things.
Yeah.
One, you get to dump on them for free.
Exactly.
And two, they have your secrets. And when you have my secrets,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
I know.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to let you go so easily.
That's
All right?
the Queen's mentality coming
okay?
out right now. But
you know
yeah.
a couple things, you're going to end up in the bay.
Well,
All right?
but so the thing that I also noticed with the email or with the submission was because if this friendship was going to be saved, or if there was even an inkling, I think that she wanted that, there would have been hints throughout of like, you know, she's a nice person. We have fun together. There would have been some like
None.
mentions of good, and there was none.
None.
That's how you
None.
could tell this is somebody who's at the end of their rope with this
Yes.
person. So
And when you're at the end of
yeah.
your rope, you get sloppy.
I do think that's true too.
Right.
And like we said, she slipped and she blurted out that thing that
That's
you
a very
shouldn't-
good point though that you said also, and I think that needs to be just said again about like it's a house of cards.
Yeah.
To build this thing.
Right.
And if you make one mess up,
the whole thing
collapses.
unravels. And
Yeah.
that's I think where she lost it because
Yeah.
you know, because the other thing too is she's like, "Oh, I hate being cornered." I don't think you were cornered.
Yes. Yes.
You were confronted.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I read that and I was like, no, sweetheart, you feel this way.
You felt it. That was something that you felt.
Dara
Yes.
coming in with them hammers. Thank you.
Yes. So it's like and you could tell just by the email submission. I keep saying email, but you could tell by the submission itself that she was trying to get away with this, essentially, similar to what you were saying.
Yes.
She was trying to get away with not having a conversation. and she didn't actually get that result.
Yeah.
So then you weren't cornered. You were just simply confronted with the problem at hand, and so you snapped.
You got ghost busted, girl. That's what happened.
And I'm like,
all
I
right?
understand that. It happens to the best of us.
But that's the thing.
You
It's
know,
like you have to. It has to be a slow, calculating disconnect.
Yeah.
And when you do that, when you're like, listen, I've just been really busy. I've just had a lot of things come up. This person will be able to put those pieces together. And then if she goes, hey, I just feel like you're really mad at me. I've had people come up to me and say, man, I feel like we had a conversation or disagreement, and I've been like, hey, listen, it's all good. I just think that we're heading, we've been pretty busy, and when we run into each other, we'll run into each other.
Right.
And even something like that, any normal person in society will be like, you know what? This is all they're going to give me, and I have to accept it.
Right. Yes. I do think that's true.
Only a lunatic would be like, no, this is what happened. You know what I mean? And not to say they don't exist.
I was going to say, some people do exist that way.
Yeah, they do exist that way. But I think that you could have been a little more slicker about it.
I also think, yes, but I do think not even slick, because slick to me implies that you're like trying to, well, I guess you are technically
You're trying to
do something dirty.
Yeah, you want out. You want out of this messy situation.
I get it.
You have to be slick.
You have to be slick unless you want to be honest.
Right.
You could do that too.
I think honesty is the worst policy.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely. I think honesty is sometimes not necessary.
Well, no. I was just going to say, not in every situation. But in some situations.
Everyone is so quick to write reality checks. It's like, yo, bro, you ain't, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want to disconnect, there's people I am not close to anymore that I see out in these streets.
Yeah.
And we are very cordial. How's it going? How are you doing? Oh, that's cool. That sounds great. Oh, man, good to see you. And that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's it. And they understand where the conversations are now, where the friendship is now. And that is fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing else left to say, homie. Be on your way.
I still think that is largely more indicative of male relationships than female relationships. Friendships, especially.
Yeah. Listen, I think women are good at sniffing each other out.
And it's just also typically a more emotional connection, especially when it's something like this, where clearly this person's using this other woman as like a therapist.
You know how many times I said to you, I want deeper connections with my male friends?
Yes.
It kills me. Okay. It kills me just because
I do remember that.
Sucks that women get to have these deep emotional connections with each other, and men got to get hammered to do it.
Well, here's the thing, but then you also have to deal with stuff like this, where you have, I think, more friend breakups because of this exact type of situation.
I want it.
Yeah, okay.
I want it. I like it. I want it. I like it. I need it.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, the other thing too is like, I wonder, had she prepared for this talk, or not talk, but well, it did end up being a talk. So if she had prepared for this a little bit more, I think it would have gone better. I think that's why I'm like, I understand your perspective of like wanting to just ghost and forget about it and hope the problem goes away. But I think you always have to be prepared that conversation could happen and what you might say. But again, if the person kind of gets you at a time where it's inconvenient, you weren't expecting it.
If you're busy at work, it's a bad circumstance.
I get it.
Yeah.
I would probably snap too. But the other thing I was going to mention is like, I'd be curious what drew her to this person in the first place. I was just kind of wondering. I mean, it's not like
I mean, I don't know. I think that there's something in wanting to fix broken things.
Yeah.
You know, women like to do that too for men. Women like to do that for each other.
Right.
I think that other people, there are men who have a proclivity for that kind of stuff because it's a replication of chaos. And when you want that replication of chaos, of something that you grew up with perhaps, then you're like, oh man, this is a broken winged bird.
Yeah.
How do I fix this?
Could be.
Yeah. And then the bird is like rabid and you're like, this is my life now.
And right, exactly. Because some people can't be fixed. That's the other thing is like, you could just be, and like, I do have friends like that too, where it's almost like you have the same conversations over and over again. And you're just kind of like, how many times can I really listen to this? Like I have a few friends that will always complain about their jobs and yet do nothing about it.
Right.
Like I complain about my job, but I am actively trying to do things to change that.
Yes.
I will still continue to complain as long as I'm still in it, but it is what it is.
And you're but the key difference is trying to do something different about it.
And
that is the takeaway here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, I get fed up with people like that too. So it's like, I support how this unfolded.
And this is the thing about therapists and therapy. And this is going to get a little controversial.
Oh dear.
Here we go. I'm going to say this right now. Don't dump on your friends. Stop it. Okay? Go to a therapist. Go twice a week. All right, maybe 3 times. I've
It's
gone to a therapist.
expensive.
I don't care. That's not true. The idea of therapy being expensive is a fallacy.
I mean, it
Hear
is
me out.
expensive.
Hear me
bro.
out. If you have the cheapest insurance, that free insurance, because you don't make enough money, then you can still see a therapist.
I mean,
I have seen therapists. I've seen multiple therapists over the course of several years of my life. I have paid $0 in copayment.
Well, that's you, bro.
No, that's not just me.
me.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but there are other places you can go, institutions that have therapists in training, and I
Yeah,
understand
there's sliding scale stuff.
sliding
I get
scale
it.
as
yes.
well. I've paid for therapists. Actually, I have paid for a therapist. It's $40 a session at one point.
Right,
but
but-
I'm just saying the idea of it being too expensive.
But dude,
means
it is expensive for most people.
I don't think that. I think that's a stereotype of therapy.
Are you serious?
I'm
right
100%
now?
saying that,
Dude,
yeah.
I'm telling you that
Yeah,
therapy
it's-
is like $200 a session.
That's for some people.
But that's for most people,
It's-
dude.
I mean, there's a lot of people I knew who are paying $0 to $40.
Oh, but if they're not making enough money, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but
okay.
most people who live in New York are not dirt poor.
Right,
Because
okay,
we live here and it costs $1 million
Then
to
there's
live here.
also the understanding of going to institutions where have therapists in training.
I understand that too, but
Yeah.
like there is, because I've looked into that as well when I like couldn't quote unquote afford
Yeah.
therapy and I decided to just like stop it for a bit. I looked into the institutions with like the therapists in training, but I didn't really like it. And
Well, that's a
you know,
personal preference.
Right, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying is like
But
it's not
But that's
as,
to mean that it doesn't exist is crazy.
no, it's not saying it doesn't exist, but I
Yeah.
do think that it's very expensive and
Well, if we're
saying it's
talking-
not is crazy.
No, to talk to a highbrow therapist or a lot of therapists, you can pay up to $1,000 a session. I'm not
Right.
saying the sky isn't the limit, sure,
Yeah.
but to say that there's no options for cheaper therapy,
Yeah, no, of course.
yeah, there's options.
There's Talkspace.
There's
I did that
Talkspace,
for a
there's- yeah,
while.
all
There's
those
lots
things.
of BetterHelp.
Right.
I mean,
so I'm saying,
yeah.
then it's the thing is there's just a huge assumption that therapy
Yes.
can be super expensive. So can driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
But to say that you can't buy a Kia is bonkers.
Right.
Okay.
I get
so
it.
there's that one. The other thing is go to a therapist and get the work in. All right,
Mm-hmm.
go there to work. If you're going to go to your therapist and you continue to dump on your friends, fire your therapist and find a better one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mostly agree with that, but I do
Yeah.
also think it's just natural human behavior to complain to your
There's
friends.
I know. I'm not saying
we
that
do
you
it all
should.
the time.
Of course.
We complain about a lot of things
to each other. Right. 1,000%. But you want to
Yeah.
know what you and I have that's different?
A podcast?
Very true. Very true. But also we have the fact that we understand each other's limits. We
Yeah.
understand where it's just like, listen, I'm bitching you about, I need to bitch to you about something. You'll call me, I'll be like, can I complain to you about something? And then we do it.
Right.
And we understand, and we're entertaining to each other, and we understand that there's limits and lines.
Yeah.
When you're overstepping that line with somebody, and the thing is, most of those people don't even know that they're doing it.
Well, that's what I was just going to
Yeah.
say. That becomes an issue of you not you, but the person not expressing their boundaries clearly
Sure.
enough. And also,
Right.
and that's why, like, so, I'm not naming names, but I have a couple friends in my life that I've had to this past year really just kind of draw that line in the sand. And it wasn't really an explicit conversation, but it's more like what you were saying, where they'll ask to hang out and I'm conveniently busy a lot of times now. Whereas like prior, I was a lot more available to these people. And now I'm not, because I realize that they're not as great in my life as they were at one point.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like friendships change, friendships evolve. It's not as like horrible as we all think that it is,
Right.
you know? So like coming back to this, it's like, she's like, oh my God, do we suck for being like almost 50 and not having this or having this friendship drama? And I'm like, you can have friendships fall away at 50 just as easily as you can at 20.
Absolutely.
Like people think that there's this like line between, aging equals maturity
Or
and
wisdom.
And
Yeah.
it's really, I mean, aging is a privilege, but changing and getting better, that's a choice.
Yes.
And that's a choice you have to make. You know what I mean?
Girl, yeah. Okay?
I knew you were going to like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's just like, listen.
But it's true.
If you're not, and also if you're going to therapy and stuff isn't getting
Better.
it's time to stop going to therapy.
Yes.
Fire your therapist.
Right.
The idea that people have where they got to stick it out with you. I have fired therapists on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
I have fired therapists left and right. I will continue to fire therapists.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go now. I'm in a place right now where I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that you should leave after a while as well. But that's the side note on therapy.
Yeah.
When it comes to toxicity in your life, it will come and go.
Yeah.
Like the seasons.
Oh, I was just going to say, that was the other thing, is that quote, friends come into your life for a reason or a season. That's
mean. Bars. I like it.
that's not an original DP
I did
quote
not
right
think
there.
it was.
But,
I still like that you brought it to the table.
Yeah, well, because that's one of the things I was going to mention is like, no, you don't suck at all for losing this friendship or having this drama at your age. Like, I think age is completely irrelevant.
You should have been a little more oily about it.
Yeah,
though.
apparently you should
failed.
have been more slick and more conniving, and you would have succeeded.
Yes.
You're not wrong. Unfortunately, you're
right.
not wrong. And this is a type of person where it doesn't sound like you really did owe her a full explanation, but now you did, or now you do, because you snapped and you kind of unleashed in a passive-aggressive way, and that wasn't the best look.
Right. And
know?
when you're fighting cancer, you have to use chemo, okay? You fight poison with poison.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's not what we want to hear. It stinks.
Yeah.
But guess what? Sometimes it is a necessity.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
shall we?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm going to say this right now. Your friend sucks.
Yeah.
That's clear. That's without a doubt. That's not even second guessing that. When you dump on your friends like that, that's too much.
Yeah.
All right. To not have the wherewithal is even worse. All right. Sometimes you got to pull back. You got to realize that your friend doesn't have that. So now you decided to pull back, but you got caught up and you did it in a bad way and you got sniffed out. The house of cards fell because you were annoyed about your friend who's too emotionally burdensome, and as a result, you got caught up in emotions too, when you shouldn't have, all right? You kind of stink for getting caught for that. I don't like the way you got caught up, all right? I'm not happy about it. Yeah. I'm going to have to say, because these things happen, and in a rare twist of events, I'm going to say your friend sucks. I'm going to let you off the hook on this one.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah. Because these things occur and you're going to make these mistakes.
Yep.
Just don't get caught in these streets again. All right? I'm telling you, girl, you don't want this in your life.
Yeah.
I know you don't want the drama. And I'm here to tell you, it's okay that it happened at 50. I'm damn near 40. And I got all this drama underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a lot. I do think I actually agree, though. That was my original stance. I was like teetering a little bit on the like, maybe you both suck. But I honestly side way too much with the person who wrote in, because I would have probably had the exact same thing happening, especially knowing where I am right now in my own life, dealing with also a lot of similar work anxieties and stress and all this shit.
It's tough.
It's tough if you got a friend who's dumping on you like that, and you're just like, actually, this happened recently with a very good friend of mine. He was coming at me with some shit. I was not in a place where I wanted to hear it, and I accidentally snapped at him. Yeah. And not to say he didn't deserve it, though, because you know the details of what I'm talking about. He deserved it a little bit, but it was also just not maybe the best move for me to snap at that time.
Did you get caught up in some nonsense? And listen, you admitted it then.
Yes,
when we spoke
I knew
about
it the second it happened.
I didn't need to tell you that. Yeah. You got it. Yep. So it's fine. Right. Things happen, and
that's where I feel
you're gonna maybe either let it fizzle out and it'll be chill in terms of like the no more issues, or you'll apologize. Whatever.
No, I already apologized.
Yeah,
so I apologized the second that it happened, because I knew that once it came out of my mouth, I was like, all right, that was a little harsh.
It's sort of like when you throw a beer pong ball and you know it's not going in.
Yeah.
You're like, this was not a good idea.
That's always me, because I'm terrible at beer pong. But yeah, so same thing. I side a little bit more with the writer here, because I feel you, honestly. Age is completely irrelevant here. I would have reacted the same way. I do think it was a passive-aggressive response that you gave, which wasn't what she deserved, but at the same time, the friend, I believe, is the one who sucks. So the friend sucks. Not
Beautiful.
you. Congratulations.
Nice job.
Yes.
Yo, if you've got a squabble, we've got ways to submit them.
Yeah. Wait, if you've got squabbles, we've got... It sounds like a rap.
Well, it sounds like a rap, right?
If you
got squabbles, we got ways to submit them. Dara, how they submit these squabbles? How they do it?
They can go to our Instagram. There's a link tree with a bunch of different links for you to submit. You can submit in the old-fashioned written way. You can submit via voice note. You can email us. We even have a Reddit. I mean, honestly, there's a multitude of ways you can do that.
Let us catch all your squabbles.
Yes.
We are your dream catcher. We're a squabble catcher.
Squabble catcher. I like
merch.
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
What up, merch?
What up, merch? Okay, yeah. And then I think that's it, right?
Yes,
I think we will see you.
Hit them with the Instagrams.
Oh, right. God, I'm terrible. It's been a long
day. You're not. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got you.
Notice how I didn't apologize.
I know. Oh my god! The other day when you said that in front of our previous, so our episode that you guys will have heard it by now with Shane Torres.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you said that about me, you know, I almost wanted to give you a hug.
Aww.
I was like, yo, that's so sweet of you to say.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah,
I was not
appreciate that.
about to have him say that you're not a feminist.
Yeah.
You
I
have
just
your
don't like
moments.
the title because it's gross.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's a terrible title. Anyway, we are at You Both Suck Podcast. I am at Dara Pollock.
I'm at All Day KCA.
And we will see you next week. Lie.
Bye.
I just said lie.
You want to
Bye.
say bye? All right. You are tired.
I don't know what's happening in my
All right.
brain today.